the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Good morning, good morning, good morning, sunshine. How are y'all doing? I hope that you are feeling great. You are all energized on this glorious Friday. Boss lady, I am so sad that this is your final morning report with us. I am going to miss you so much. I've had a great time with you over, what has it been, like a month and a half now? Like, tu vas me manquer énormément. I'm so triste. So sorry about that, but I'm glad that you've been able to join us over all this time. Thank you so much for all of your comments since the launch of the morning report. Good morning to you, Allie. And you know what? It is raining here where I'm at too. So we're in this together. Good morning, Theo, Shemjen, Houston Rose, Jessica, and Kahara, and everybody watching us as well. We've got so much to discuss in today's morning report. And I have to tell you guys, if you've got extra time today, stick around because we will be going over the entire superseding indictment that has been handed down to Diddy in his federal case. It's ugly. It's bad. It features Cassie. She's not named in it, but we of course know that she is one of them that we're talking about. So stay tuned, okay? Oh, and thank you so much, boss lady, for asking Allie how her interview went. Allie says it was good. I'm just waiting to hear back. It was a little nerve-wracking because it was with one of my mentors. Listen, how amazing that you even have a mentor. To me, that shows that you are a total go-getter. And I think that that counts for a lot. And I'm hoping that that helps you get the job, you know, like this person knows you, they know your motivation, your passion, and everything like that. So, you know, stay positive. You've got this, you've got this. And I hope you update us when, not if, when you get the job. And again, happy Friday to you and everybody else watching. And you know what? It is like Ali says, boss lady, we're going to miss you over here in the morning report. I guess you're going to have to join our playback posse. Okay. So just to do a little bit of a rundown on all the stories that we've got coming up today, we are going to talk about Soulja Boy. He's threatening to sue Bhad Babie. Do y'all remember in yesterday's episode of the Morning Report, Bhad Babie claimed that Alabama Barker slept with Soulja Boy and got knocked up by Tyga? Well, Soulja Boy saying that Bhad Babie is a liar and he wants to sue her for an awful lot of money. And he really insulted the hell out of her. And it actually also looks like Blake Lively from It Ends With Us is heavily screwed. She might have girl bossed a little bit too close to the sun and handed Justin a slam dunk case. Then we got to talk about Karla Sofia Gascon from Emilia Perez and her past. It's very sordid and dark and ugly and racist, Islamophobic, you name it. She's tweeted it. All of this came to light yesterday, and I'm just disgusted by it, to be honest with you. Then we've got to talk about Teen Mom star Ryan Edwards trying to have his estranged wife, Mackenzie Standifer, held in contempt of court. And then, of course, we're going to wrap today's episode up with the Diddy superseding indictment as well. So buckle up. We got a lot to talk about. Just as a little aside, y'all, I tried to go to Pilates today. It was in a different studio. So I go to this gym and then they've got studios all over the city. And I said, oh, let me try this studio because it fits with, like, you know, what I've got going on today. I tried to walk there. I thought it would be like, you know, a 15-minute walk. But then when I was looking down, it said actually it's like a 25-minute. So it's better to bike. And so here you can like just, you know, rent these little Villy bikes. I pay €3 a month and I have unlimited access to these bikes that are parked all over the city. So I pick one up. And then I changed my Google Maps from like walking to biking, and then it just stops working. So I'm sitting here on a bike with my Google Maps that doesn't work. And so I showed up to the class like 10-ish minutes later to the studio, and the door was already closed to the actual Pilates section. So I missed out on that. I'm not having a great week. Please keep me in your thoughts and in your prayers, and let's hope for me to have a better week next week, because this just ain't it. Okay, now let's get back into the Soulja Boy, Bhad Babie, Alabama Barker, Tyga of it all. As I just mentioned, this was a big story yesterday with Bhad Babie accusing Alabama Barker of hooking up with Soulja Boy and 37-year-old Tyga of impregnating her. Mind you, she's 19 years old, right? And of course, Soulja Boy caught wind of all of this, and he decided to pop off on the gram. Take a look at what he had to say.
Bhad Babie, you cracking. Why the fuck you got my name in your mouth for? Ain't your baby daddy beating the fuck out you every day? Don't you got black eyes every time you go live? Don't you wanna be a fake black girl? Ain't you been culture virtuing on our culture? Ain't you was at my house in Malibu trying to suck my dick? And I said no. So you mean to tell me because I ain't let you suck my dick, you mad? You get on this internet lying on my name? Now when I sue your little stupid and take that little OnlyFans money you got, then I'm wrong, right? Sit your down somewhere, you little fuck is wrong with you? Before I beat your like your mother. Boy, hey, I'm finna sue your stupid for defamation of character. I want 10 million.
Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. How ugly was that? And it's like Gwen says, thou doth protest a little bit too much. And let me tell you why I agree with you, Gwen. He's saying, okay, it's not true, but there was a time where Bhad Babie came to his Malibu house and asked to S his D. Well, that begs the question, Soulja Boy, why are you you're in your 30s. Why are you hanging around with teenagers? Danielle, didn't she just turn 18 or 19 or something like that? She is way too young to be hanging out with you. So that already is questionable. That leads me to believe, okay, well, if you're in contact with this teeny bopper, why wouldn't you be in contact with the other one? And I think it's great that he refused to allow this to happen. If that even is the case, he could be lying. But still, just the fact that you've got teeny boppers in your house is a little scary. I got to tell y'all, I am a 31-year-old woman. I have never had teenage girls in my apartment. What do I need to be friends with teenage girls for as a grown woman? Right? Good morning, Venetia, and everybody else filing into today's morning report. It just, that to me already shows that there's a serious lack of judgment going on there. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Why is it always the case that you see these grown-ass men hanging around with teenage girls, but they're not hanging out with teenage boys? Right? And I'm with you, Allie. Well, actually, I don't know. I kind of like the fighting on the internet. It gives me something to talk about, something to be messy about. Nonetheless, I'm getting I'm getting what is it? Face palming, all that stuff, right? And Jaleesa says the same thing. Tyga, Soulja Boy, you were hanging around with teen girls nonetheless, and that already is a little bit weird. Actually, a bit weird, right? So voila. Good morning to Disha as well. So you guys, let's get into the rest of the tea. Let's get into Blake Lively, because I know a lot of y'all are antsy about the Blake Lively situation. And I can't believe I'm even saying this. It's kind of painful to even say this, so I got to say it slowly. Shout out to Candace Owens. Shout out to Candace Owens for this video. She did a great job of connecting It Ends With Us, the movie, to Deadpool, okay? And it's a smoking gun. It really, really, really is. Hi, Hayat. So basically, it came out in one of the lawsuits that Justin Baldoni filed. I think it was against the New York Times. He said that, what did he say? So he said that they used Ryan Reynolds' movie Deadpool to try and humiliate Justin Baldoni. They used a character called Nice Pool who wore a man bun similar to the man bun that Justin Baldoni wore. And then he identified as a feminist. He gets, shot and killed by Blake Lively's character, Lady Pool, in front of a floral shop, all sorts of things like that. He's saying, that's me. They're trying to bully me through film. And all the naysayers all this time have been saying, no, there's no connection, nothing like that. He's just making things up, and this has nothing to do with anything, right? And so now Candace Owens has linked the two films and why it is important that we talk about that situation. So take a look at this video that was posted.
Blake Lively did this at the end of the credits for It Ends With Us. They left an Easter egg, okay? So here we go. These are the ends of the credits for It Ends With Us, and you'll see right there, it says Gordon Reynolds. They're thanking a special thanks to Gordon Reynolds. She thanks Austin Swift, she thanks Taylor Swift, and she thanks Gordon Reynolds. And when you look up who Gordon Reynolds is, it's, and I will now show you the end credits for Deadpool, it's Nice Pool. So on his own movie, you guys, on Justin Baldoni's own movie, Blake Lively thought it would be funny to include an Easter egg in the credits to let people know that the person who viciously mocked the director and the producer and the person who took this book from obscurity and turned it into a film, it'd be funny to mock him with an Easter egg.
Boom. There it is. They were mocking him. They were playing in his face this entire time. And I guess that Blake Lively has been hanging out with Taylor Swift a little bit too much, because that's what Taylor likes to do as well, right? To plant these little Easter eggs. Hers are a little bit more innocuous. They're more so hints about who she's dating or whatever. But this time, Blake decided to use that technique to insult and humiliate Justin Baldoni as she took his film from him. And I gotta say that my jaw is on the floor. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this is going to factor in to Justin Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit. Yes, Theo, she is trying to get into entertainment. And to Jen's point, she has been making some pretty good points about this case. Do you guys see how painful this is? And I'm glad y'all can feel my pain. It hasn't been easy, y'all. It really hasn't been. Listen, everybody else, to admit that she really did have a point here. So, my question is, why that? I feel like, okay, with a nice pool, you can kind of get away with it. You can have all these excuses. But when you take this movie and you say that this character from Nice Pool is to be thanked in a movie that has nothing to do with it, it becomes very obvious that you are trying to send some sort of a message. And it's crazy because, again, when I was watching Deadpool, I didn't know anything. Like, I knew there was a scandal between Justin and Blake, but I had no idea what to look out for. It's only now in hindsight that all of this stuff is making a lot of sense. But there's no other reason for Blake to mention Nice Pool in It Ends With Us if it wasn't to mock, to kind of harass, or to kind of bully Justin Baldoni. And it's just insane to me that she did that. Like, it feels like this is really going to harm her case. So now we've got this. Then, Melissa's saying that Candace didn't come up with this. She was just repeating it. Okay, that makes me feel a little better. So we've got that. And then what did I just say we had? The kind of proof that the New York Times had access to her lawsuit before it filed, about a week or 10 days before it even filed. Like, it's really starting to pile up against her. But at the end of the day, if she can prove actual harassment and like these other things that she's alleging, then she still does have a chance of winning. However, it's not looking good. This was not necessary. This was a film that they were doing about DV. So to go from doing a film about DV to trying to promote your hair products, trying to promote your drinking, your beverage brand, right? And then turning it into a Barbenheimer moment. And now you're doing this to mock someone who even came up with the idea to turn this into a film and fought to turn it into a film is insane, y'all. It really truly is. I am gobsmacked at it all. Right? So good morning, Hamlets, Brittany, and everybody else filing in. It is so nice to have you all here on this beautiful Friday morning. Deborah, Hayat, April, Cynthia, good morning, Mary. Okay, By the way, if you're enjoying the stream, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a good old-fashioned thumbs up so that YouTube knows you enjoy the morning report and my videos in general so that they do not stop getting served to you. Now, speaking of Justin Baldoni and and Blake and Ryan and everything like that, I do have a little bit of a development in their entire lawsuit ordeal. Blake and Ryan have just filed a motion to dismiss Justin Baldoni's lawsuit against them. I've got a copy of that I want to go ahead and read to you. Listen, this is not breaking news, to be honest. It's kind of standard procedure whenever lawsuits are filed against people. I doubt it will be thrown out, but this is something that, happens pretty much all the time. So their legal team wrote to the judge, and I quote, "Dear Judge Lehman, on behalf of defendants Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds in Wayfarer Studios LLC et al. Versus Lively et al., together the Lively Reynolds parties, we write in response to the court's January 22nd, 2025 notice of the initial pretrial conference, and the Lively Reynolds parties intend to move to dismiss the plaintiff's complaint." Again, standard procedure. I don't believe that the lawsuit is actually going to be dismissed or anything like that, but I don't think it's crazy that they are trying to get it dismissed nonetheless. Keep an eye out, y'all. This is getting more and more interesting, especially with the help of internet sleuths. I don't know if Justin Baldoni's team caught this before the internet sleuths did, but if that's not the case, then I think that the sleuths are really going to help them in this battle. And this is kind of reminiscent of, and I hate to compare it, but it's kind of reminiscent of the Depp v. Heard, right? Like a lot of people online were finding different things, sending it to the attorneys and stuff. I do think that to a certain point, it can be overwhelming and it can kind of cause issues in the case because they've already got a solid case and whatnot. And so if there's a lot of people sending in information, especially if it's all the same information, that can make it rather difficult for the attorneys to keep up. But yeah, I really do think that is what's happening here. Again, unfortunately, this lawsuit is not going to be televised the way that Depp v. Heard was. But yeah, stick around. This is very, very interesting stuff. I'm really fascinated by some of the points that people are bringing up here. Now, we got to talk about Oscar-nominated actress. What was her name again? Karla Sofia Gascon. Oh, Lord. She's from that terrible movie that they keep trying to convince us was good. Emilia Perez. I got to tell y'all, I hated that movie. I told y'all when it came out, I went and I thought it was going to be like, I didn't know it was a musical. I thought it was going to be like this kind of like, because I love mafia movies and stuff like, not mafia, narcos, like movies, things like that, right? I recently finished when it came out, so last year or so, the beautiful girl from Modern Family, Sofia Vergara, how she did La Madrina on Netflix. I really, really enjoyed that. So I thought this was going to be another similar iteration to that. So when we went to the theater and they started singing within 30 seconds and they kept singing every minute or two, I was so damn irritated. I hated it, right? So, my boyfriend, he fell asleep during the thing, like within 30 minutes, 40 minutes or something like that. But I toughed it out. And within like maybe an hour-ish or something like that, my eyes started getting heavy and I started falling asleep. I was so frustrated and I wanted to leave at this point, but I had never left a movie theater in the middle of a movie, right? But it just kept happening. It kept getting worse and worse. And so at a certain point, I fall asleep. Then when I wake up, the thing is still going. I said, listen, we got to go. You're falling asleep. I'm not into this. Let's go. The movie was just so damn weird, right? And now we're finding out that Karla Sofia apparently has a long standing history of being racist, of being Islamophobic, and all sorts of things. Of course, I do not want to platform the terrible things that she said. I don't want to post the screenshots or anything like that, but they were bad. She spent a lot of time speaking poorly about Black Americans. I remember she was saying something about George Floyd particularly and stuff. Like it was very, very bad. And then in Spain, she was speaking very poorly about Muslim people and everything, and just Islam in general. And it was ugly. It was ugly. She's been having a lot of bad press lately because it seems like she could potentially be disqualified from her nomination category because she spoke poorly about a fellow nominee in her category. And now this is coming out. It's not good. It's not looking too good for her. If she were to win, I think it would cause a huge upset. To me, it would prove that there's some sort of an agenda with this movie and everything, because again, it's a terrible movie. The public does not like it, yet they keep on pushing for it to be awarded and heralded as some sort of like a masterpiece, which it absolutely was not, right? It looks like y'all weren't feeling it either. I'm looking at you guys' comments as they file in, and yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, Eastasum says there's nothing like there's nothing worse than a surprise musical. Tell me about it. Like, I was so mad. Like, what the hell? And y'all know how expensive movie tickets are now. Like, you know, we paid all this money to go to the movies for this. Oh, Lord. And Ali also said, when they try to lie in our faces and try to get us to go in and see musicals, right? April, however, loves musicals, but not that one. And that doesn't surprise me, right? It was just not good. It was weird. And I gotta say, Zoe Saldana, I think she's an incredible actress and I love everything that she's in. And I think she was a great actress in this musical. It's just that the musical was not good, right? And another thing that irritates me about this musical is the director. So the director is this French guy who didn't bother to learn Spanish or anything like that. And so he's been speaking very, like, he speaks down, he looks down. You know, I'm sorry to my French people. Listen, I love France, this and that, but the stereotype is true. There's a certain level of arrogance that like French people can have sometimes, and the director is a good example of that. So I recently saw an interview that he was doing where he was talking about Spanish speakers, and he's like, Spanish is generally like, the poor man's language, like it's a language of poor. And I was like, dude, like, why are you speaking like this? And then he said, they asked him, they're like, okay, well, why didn't you do this, that, to immerse yourself in Mexico, this or that, the culture? He said, well, I didn't need to, right? I have my French perspective on it. Like, the arrogance of it all. Why are they pushing this crap movie so hard? I don't get it. But listen, Karla Sofia has since apologized for her statements. But here's the thing. You're not sorry. You just want that Oscar. You're sorry you got caught. You want to clean up your image so you can continue to work in Hollywood, but this is who you are. It's not like these comments are super old or they came when you were young. Like, you were already fully grown with your own damn children in 2020 when you were putting this stuff out there. So stop it. It's who you are. I don't like you, and I'm never going to like you. Stephanie says, I'm French descent and my father is the most arrogant man on earth. Stephanie, and anybody else familiar with Paris, let me tell you a funny story about this French guy I dated. Do y'all remember my French lover? This guy, his family owned a hotel where did they own a hotel? They owned a hotel not here in France. It was somewhere in Africa, Niger. But he was living rough. Do y'all know Stalingrad? It's like the 19th arrondissement here in Paris. And it's hood. It's like Skid Row for like American, balance. And so he was living there in this rough apartment, and I only went to it once. I was like, oh, what's this? Right? He was living there, but he was the bougiest person I've ever met. Like, when it would be my turn to choose a restaurant or something like that, he'd look down on my restaurant choices and I'd always be like, dude, you live on Skid Row. Like, why are you so arrogant? Like, it feels like it's something that's just ingrained or something, like regardless of like their circumstances or how they're living. And I find it to be just so fascinating and off-putting, to be honest with you. It's something that I don't really like. Ali says it's interesting because didn't Selena Gomez have something to do with this movie? Yes, she was one of the actresses in the movie, and we all know Selena does not speak. She does not speak Spanish, and it was so bad. She was supposed to be married to this guy. She looked like more like she could be his daughter. It was terrible. I'm sorry, y'all. This movie was just not good. Theo says a lot of trans people hate this movie for its negative, stereotypical portrayal of the trans experience. There you go, right? Trans people are not happy. Mexican people are not happy. Nobody's happy with this thing except for Hollywood, right? And it makes you wonder why. Why are they pushing for this? It's not good. And yes, Ali, I'm telling you, it's like Skid Row. Look up Stalingrad in Paris and you'll see. Look it up on TikTok. See all the videos that people make about it. Now, y'all, we've got a quick commercial break so that we can hear a word from our sponsors. And then on the flip side, we're going to talk about Ryan Edwards trying to hold his estranged wife, Mackenzie Standifer, in contempt of court. And then we're going to wrap it up with the Diddy story. There's been a superseding indictment filed in his federal case, and it is just not looking good for him. One of the victims or alleged victims mentioned in the indictment is very clearly his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. The Morning Report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Are you looking for the perfect skincare products for women over 30? Look no further than Rothia. Rothia is a skincare brand born from love and made for parents. Their flagship product, the Resilience Cream, delivers clinically proven age prevention benefits such as average 14% wrinkle reduction after 4 weeks of use. Click the link below and receive 30% off your first purchase today. All right, we're back in action. Let's talk about Ryan Edwards trying to get his estranged wife held in contempt of court. But before we get into that, let's talk about Theo's comment. Yup, listen, Karla Sofia does not care. Karla Sofia has not changed. She just wants to be an Oscar winner, and you have to apologize in order to win one. Do y'all think that she's still going to get it despite this and the other controversy of like crap talking the other Best Actress nominee? Let me know. I think she's out now. So let's get into the Ryan Edwards story, shall we? So shout out to the U.S. Sun for this expose. They found that he had filed documents on January 23rd, urging the courts to condemn Mackenzie because apparently, and I quote, the parties are under a court order prohibiting the parties from transferring, assigning, borrowing against, concealing, or in any way dissipating without the consent of the other party or an order of the court of any marital property. So apparently, Mackenzie chose to, quote, intentionally, willfully, and or maliciously dispose of certain marital property, including a plasma cutter, 2 welders, a jet ski, a toolbox, various tools, car jack, race car / motor transmission, a lawnmower, a kayak, a generator, a pressure washer, a sectional couch, hunting rifle, and more. So here's my thing. She got the rights to the house, right? And it's the house that Ryan tried to trash on his way out. And he succeeded. He truly, truly destroyed that house. Like, it was unlivable. Like, the fact that they're even able to go and live in it now is a miracle, right? So I feel like, and I'm biased here, but I feel like Mackenzie after that should be able to do whatever the hell she wants to do. I feel like when you act like that, like a wildebeest, you no longer have human rights. You no longer have rights at all. So if she wants to go ahead and sell your junk to free up space in her house that you tried to destroy, let her sell your junk and pocket the money, right? But of course, that's not the way that things work. And so he is trying to get her held in contempt, which I don't know is really going to work out like that. I think that maybe they might give her a stern talking to, ask her to share some proceeds with him or to turn over some things. But I don't think that this will lead to jail time or anything like that. By the way, I do have a question. How would Ryan have an itemized list of all the things that are missing from the home? He's not allowed to be anywhere near Mackenzie. And obviously with her living there, she's not allowed to access the home. So how does he know all this stuff? That's something that I truly do not understand. The court papers did also say that Mackenzie made no attempt to discuss the sale, gift, or transfer of these assets, and that many of the items were of significant monetary and or sentimental value to Ryan. Sorry, but too bad. So sad. What can you do? You would not be in this situation if you didn't behave the way that you did. Gwen says, how does anyone put up with Ryan? He destroyed his kid's home. Zero sympathy, right? I'm on the same. Mary says, I am so sick of this man. Isn't he like 35 years old at this point? And he still acts like 15. Also tired of his enabling parents. Listen, y'all, it looks like we are all on the same page about Ryan Edwards. And it also looks like we all want Demi Moore to win that Oscar as well. I love how in sync we are. It truly is a beautiful sight to behold. Tadisha says, Ryan owes Mackenzie an apology for traumatizing her and her kids. I hope he sticks to being sober for his soon-to-be-born daughter. I agree. But one thing about Ryan is he always goes off the wall when a new child of his is born. So I don't give it too much time. How pregnant is Amanda right now? I think she's got to be at least 7 months. So I don't know. I don't give it much more than that, to be honest with y'all. Jaleesa says Spaniards wants to align themselves with Latinos, but hate us. Ugh, I'm not super informed about the depth of you guys' relationships with Spanish people, but I have heard from like some Chilenos that I know here in Paris that like they feel more comfortable in France than they do in Spain, due to, contempt that they feel like Spaniards have towards them. And I find that to be so sad. Oh, why are we always so divided? The human race, right? Boss Lady says, so you can destroy the house, but she can't get rid of the stuff. She doesn't want the double standards of it all. That's what I feel like, right? It's just so much stuff. The items that he's describing are not little things. It's not like, oh, I have like a lip liner somewhere in the house. It's like, these are massive things. Why should she be burdened with keeping these for several years when she could just, find something to do with them that she wants to at this point? Like, and again, the things that he did, the trauma that he caused, the damage that he caused is irreparable. And for me, I think that when it comes to that, she should be able to have all the money, all the say, control over, their marital property and whatnot, right? Stephanie says, I'm not mad at her. Spouses don't understand it's going to cost you if you lie, cheat, or disrespect the other spouse. Exactly. He is lucky she did not bust out his windows, Jasmine Sullivan style. Lord knows I would have. Right. And I agree. Ryan needs to stay sober. It's all about that at the end of the day. Good luck to him. He is a mess. I don't see him truly changing. For now, he's acting like he's super happy with Amanda. But listen, he does it all the time. He did that with Mackenzie for a little while. But when the cameras started rolling and we really saw what the true dynamic was like of their relationship, it was not good. Not good at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. It's very easy to fake things for social media, but actually living them in day to day is a completely different story. Ali says, how is that man not in jail? I know his dad used to work for Coca-Cola and they make bank. Like when I tell you they make money, they make money. Listen, that doesn't surprise me, right? They live in a low cost of living area. On top of that, they only have one child. So I imagine that the parents do have a good amount of money. And that was their home that Ryan and Mackenzie were living in, their other home. And it was a big other home, their lake home. So yeah, the money is long over there. And I'm with you, East Awesome. I still don't forgive Camila either, right? So, anyway, y'all. We do have another icky person to talk about. And it is none other. Ooh, Boss Lady spilling us some last minute tea before she leaves us for the morning report to head back to work. She says, I got to thank for breaking cards with my exes. Listen, F around and find out. Lord have mercy, because sometimes I do be trying you. Now, let's get into the P. Diddy of it all, shall we? So for those of you who are just joining us, there has been a superseding indictment filed in regards to the Sean P. Diddy Combs trafficking lawsuit and investigation. So I really wanted to read it all with you guys because it has just been made available online. And I really, really want to know what you guys have to say about it in real time. So let me go ahead and pull it up right here for y'all. Here it is. Oh God, I'm shook that this is even happening. We were warned that this could potentially happen, but for it to be happening right now, major. So here it is, superseding indictment against Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love. Count 1, racketeering conspiracy. The grand jury charges. So for decades, Sean Combs, aka all those aliases, the defendant abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, aka slavery, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Boom, they are coming in hot, y'all. I just want to let y'all know that as I'm reading this lawsuit, or sorry, as I'm reading this superseding indictment, I'm not able to see you guys' comments. However, I will be coming back from time to time whenever there's like a pause in the reading to see what you guys have to say. So please continue to go ahead leaving your comments, okay? Sean Combs, the defendant, operated his business headquartered at various times in Manhattan and Los Angeles under a variety of United States-based corporate entities, including Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global, collectively the Combs Business. Corporate entities in the Combs business included, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business, a marketing agency, and a television network and media company. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of ABUSC toward women and other individuals. This ABUSC was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual. As part of his pattern of ABUSC, Combs manipulated women to participate in orchestrated performances of sexual activity with Combs, and at times with Combs and male commercial ex-workers. At times, Combs and others acting at his direction made arrangements for women and commercial ex-workers to fly to Combs's location. Combs ensured participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing narcotics to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation and violence. Physical ABUSC by Sean Combs was recurrent and widely known. On numerous occasions from at least in or about 2009 and continuing for years, Combs assaulted women by, among other things, striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. It's just so gross, honestly. The level of hatred you have to have for women to do that to them consistently. Combs's violence was also not limited to these women. It extended to his employees, witnesses to his ABUSC, and others. On one occasion at a Los Angeles hotel, so this is obviously about Cassie, in or about March 2016, which was captured on video and later publicly reported, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a woman as she was attempting to leave. When a member of the hotel security staff intervened, Combs attempted to bribe the staff member to ensure silence. Subsequently, Combs, with the assistance of several close associates, paid hotel security staff $100,000 for the hotel surveillance footage of the assault. Sean Combs used the Combs business, including certain employees, to carry out, facilitate, and cover up his acts of violence, ABUSC, and commercial acts. Those employees, including security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors, and other close associates, acted as Combs's intermediaries, and their conduct was facilitated and assisted by Combs's control of the Combs business. So yeah, so far they're bringing up Cassie, which is something that I find a little bit surprising, because I could have sworn that the initial indictment that they had against him already heavily featured Cassie. You know, like, to me, she was always the star witness in all of this. So how did they go from that to now bringing this case up? They already had this information when they filed the first one. So I'm very, very, very curious about that. If anybody has any answers, feel free to let me know if you're in the chat, if you're watching live, or in the comment section if you were part of my playback posse. Mary says Diddy needs to go to jail. Let her mom walk with that awful wig. Damn. That photo looks like he have no neck. Let me go ahead and pull that up. It was giving thick neck for a little bit there. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Yeah. It reminds me of someone. There's someone else with a mugshot like this, and they have the thick neck too, and they're wearing an orange jumpsuit, and it looks like that too. I don't know the name of the guy, but that reminds me of that as well. Boss Lady asks, why are there multiple indictments? This is what I'm wondering as well. Like, it felt like they had all of this that we're seeing so far, especially the hotel thing, prior to the initial one. So I'm not yet sure about that. I'm going to have to reach out to one of my lawyer friends here on YouTube. I think I have to do a collaboration. It's been a long time since I did a collab with one of my lawyers. not my lawyers, but my lawyer friends, and I'll bring them on. Autumn says, hi, Grace. I'm always here watching, but never say hello. Everything going on in Hollywood isn't shocking, sadly. I never saw the whoop. Hey, Autumn, nice to have you here. And I agree, but it's so sad. It all feels really, really heavy right now. JP says, if you want the most up-to-date info on Justin and Blake, watch Perez Hilton. Did he? Okay, I'm going to have to check him out. I do follow Perez on TikTok, but I'm not really on TikTok like that these days, but I'll check him out. Thank you so much, J Pie. So the Combs Enterprise, from at least in or about 2004. So basically, it seems as though, I forgot to tell you guys, for Boss Lady, I believe it was, who was asking why we're getting this now again. It seems as though this started even sooner than they were anticipating or thinking when they initially did their investigation. And so now with this new information that they have, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later, they're deciding to attach it in the form of a superseding indictment. So they continued on to accuse Sean of being part of a criminal investigation, which was the Combs Enterprise. Members and associates of the Combs Enterprise engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other activities, trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. This man is cooked. He's spending the rest of his life in prison, as he should. The Combs Enterprise, including its leadership, its members, and its associates, constituted an enterprise as defined by Title 18 of the Code. That's a group of individuals associated in fact, although not a legal entity. They also said that the entities within the Combs business, including but not limited to Bad Boy Entertainment, Combs Enterprises, and Combs Global, individuals employed by and associated with the Combs business, and others known and unknown. The Combs Enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members functioned as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of the Combs Enterprise. The Combs Enterprise was engaged in and its activities affected interstate and foreign commerce. The Combs Enterprise operated in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere. At all times relevant to this indictment, Sean Combs was the leader of the Combs Enterprise. He and others known and unknown participated in unlawful and other activities related to the conduct of the Combs Enterprises affairs. These individuals included certain Combs business employees, such as members of Combs' security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors, as well as other close associates of Combs. You know what I'll tell y'all? I'm surprised, though, that his children haven't popped up. Bye, Star. Have a great weekend. Nice to see you. Are you guys surprised? Because I would think, because in some of the lawsuits against him, his sons are mentioned. So I kind of expected for them to be mentioned in this as well. And I'm kind of surprised that that is not the case so far. But listen, perhaps give it time. I don't know. Purposes of the Combs Enterprise included the following. A, operating a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries, including, among other things, record labels, a recording studio, an apparel line, an alcoholic spirits business, a marketing agency, and a television network and media company, preserving, protecting, promoting, and embracing the power, reputation, and brand of Sean Combs as a musician, entrepreneur, and figure in the entertainment industry. C, enriching members and associates of the enterprise, including its leader, Combs, and in particular, those who demonstrated loyalty to Combs and willingness to conceal his crimes. Remember, in that documentary from the ID channel, what did one of his ex-assistants say? They said that Diddy made him prove his loyalty to him by forcing him to consume drugs and forcing him to sleep with random women in front of Diddy. And it's ugly. Boss Lady says, oh, I get it now. It might be because Diddy team said the government leaked the video, so they might be doing this to prove. I love your writing style. You know, she's like writing English with a French accent. Le gouvernement. Preuve. It's so cute. They received the video after the leak and therefore not responsible. Oh, so I thought they had the video prior to the indictment. Okay. East Austin says, my fear of a front pardon dampens my optimism. Oh, that would be scary stuff. I really, really hope that that's not the case, but that is a really, really interesting thing to bring up. It is possible, right? For example, and speaking of his pardons, before I forget, Snoop Dogg, a lot of people were surprised that he would perform at the inauguration or at an inauguration party after trashing people who performed for Trump back in 2016. And it comes to find out that Trump had pardoned someone, I think it was a president of Death Row Records or something like that, and Snoop Dogg performed as a thank you for the favor. So Trump really does want the rap stars and whatnot. Like, he wants the clout that comes with them. That's why he also had Nelly performing, all sorts of things like that. And Diddy was once upon a time like the kingpin of all this, right? Is it possible? I would hope not, but listen, stranger things have happened, right? Especially in our lifetimes. Diddy will get away with his crimes and be pardoned by Trump. Pray that I am wrong. We all got to pray that you're wrong. But listen, I think you do bring up a very, very good point. Shemjem wants to know why his children are protecting him. I agree, especially after he allegedly offed their mom, Kim Porter. It's crazy to me. I think the children are learning stuff that can't be explained away. Exactly. And it's scary because it's come out that Diddy was exposed to this sort of thing himself. Apparently his mom was the OG of the freak offs and he was there for these things. And so this is allegedly some sort of learned behavior for him. So to imagine that he exposed his children to this, knowing how it messed with him and how this could potentially be like a third generation, brewing of this, it's scary stuff. Scary, scary stuff, right? So yeah, I'm going to be like you, Rose Gardner. I'm going to go ahead and give it time. And no, boss lady, no need to apologize. I think it is absolutely adorable. I love it. So let's keep on reading to see what else they had to say. So the enterprise was also charged with D, preserving, protecting, promoting, and enhancing the power of the Combs enterprise, including the power of its leader through the use of violence, firearms, threats of violence, coercion, and verbal, emotional, physical, and actual abuse, fulfilling the personal desires of Combs, particularly those related to his sexual gratification, including through the exploitation of women and the use of commercial sex workers. F, enabling Combs and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise to engage in unlawful acts of violence, including sexual violence, sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics distribution, and other crimes, and concealing the commission of such acts. Securing absolute loyalty from members. Did I not just read that? Protecting the Combs enterprise and its members and associates, including Combs, from detection and prosecution by law enforcement authorities through acts of intimidation, manipulation, bribery, and threats of retaliation against individuals who witnessed the crimes committed by members and associates of the enterprise. So now the next section is about the means and methods of the enterprise. So this is where we find out the nuts and bolts of how they did all of this, right? So they're saying that Diddy and other members and associates of the enterprise conducted and participated in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise, including the following. A, Combs and other members of the associates of the Combs enterprise wielded the power and prestige of Combs's role at the Combs business to intimidate, threaten, and lure female victims into his orbit, often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims, including but not limited to 3 female victims. Victim 1, victim 2, and victim 3, to engage in commercial sex acts. In connection with the commercial sex acts, Combs provided the victims with, among other things, monetary payment. So he was prostituting these girls out. Cassie was one of his prostitutes, and that's scary. She was never meant to be. She was supposed to be a singer. He stole her from her boyfriend, Ryan Leslie, and did this to her. Like, wow. Career opportunities and payment of rent and housing expensive. B, some of the commercial sex acts involved male commercial sex workers and were referred to by Combs as, among other things, freak-offs. Freak-offs were elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, y'all saw that word, I'm not repeating it, during, and often electronically recorded. In arranging these freak-offs, Combs, with the assistance of other members and associates of the Combs enterprise, transported and caused to be transported commercial sex workers across state lines and internationally. Freak-offs occurred regularly, sometimes lasted multiple days, and often involved multiple commercial sex workers. During freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Sometimes unbeknownst to the victims, Combs kept videos. So unbeknownst to them, that's a crime, another crime, he filmed of them engaging in acts with commercial workers. After freak-offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. Like, is anybody else's body just like so tense and like cringing reading about how brutal all of this is? Like, how do you take pleasure in this? And to do it regularly? Insane. Stephanie says that all the rappers are the modern day mob, and you know Trump, he used to hang out with the mob. Didn't he buy some of his buildings? Weren't they like wasn't he paying the mob to build some of his buildings in New York? The mafia, I should say. And speaking of these rappers, you know, we just finished the Young Thug case. Now we've got the ASAP Rocky case. They are always in trouble. It makes you wonder what the heck is going on with them, right? And she was, am I lying? She was the OG, allegedly, right? Trump probably parties with a few rap stars, right? And he used to be like cool. Like he used to be someone that people liked. So, you know, East Austin might have a point that he might pardon this. Wouldn't that be scary? He's already pardoned a lot of bad people who did bad things. And I know the IV fluids, the idea of having to do an IV frequently because of this too is just so gross. See, members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including high-ranking supervisors, security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and other Combs business employees, facilitated the freak-offs by, among other things, booking hotel rooms for the freak-offs, stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, and lighting, cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak-offs to try to mitigate room damage, arranging for travel for victims, commercial workers, and Combs to and from freak-offs, resupplying Combs with requested supplies, delivering large sums of cash to Combs to pay the commercial workers, and scheduling the delivery of IV fluids. In or about March of 2024, during searches of Combs's residences in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, as we saw. Other commercial acts involved only Combs and a female victim. As with freak-offs, other members and associates of the Combs enterprise assisted with arrangements for these commercial acts, including by arranging travel and accommodations for victims. At times, Combs, with the assistance of other members and associates of the enterprise, transported and caused to be transported victims across state lines and internationally in connection with the commercial acts. Like the freak-offs, these commercial acts involving Combs and a female victim were prearranged, sometimes lasted multiple days, were sometimes electronically recorded by Combs, and often involved Combs distributing a variety of controlled substances to the victim, in part to keep the victim obedient and compliant. This is so sad, y'all. It's so sad. I know that we read like the initial indictment and stuff that went down, but like this is another one about how he had like, you know, been doing this like even prior to what we thought, and like with, you know, more detail and stuff. And it's just, it doesn't get easier hearing these details, you know, like it's difficult. And, you know, as a regular person, it's so hard to fathom why someone would do something like this to other people, right? Like, it's, I don't know. Boss Lady says, the first time I read the indictment, I vomited. It was so graphic, right? Like how do you take pleasure in any of this? It's terrible. Elevate Yourself says he went into the wrong business. He should have just went into the corn industry. Thank you. Since he clearly has an infatuation, although he probably would have just, ABUSED them the same. And I agree. Like, this is just, I guess he's like a special level of narc where he will do something so ugly behind the scenes, but he wants to be famous so badly so that he is able to do these things on his own, you know, accord. But like, how delusional are you to think that you'll never get caught? Of course, eventually that house of cards has to come tumbling down. Scotta says, let's not sample anything from Candace Owens. Thanks. Sorry, Scotta, you must be catching up to us. We did. And it was painful. But we had to. Oh, Boss Lady says, this is so disturbing. Even if we read it before, I never cease to be mad at how many knew and so few have spoken. Right? It was so bad. When are we getting the Layla and Kempire bi-yearly collab? You know, we recently did a collab. It was only about a month ago or something like that over on Kempire's channel. I don't know. Maybe we'll do something else again. I don't know. It's been a while. It's true. It has been a while. We'll try and find something for you, Mary Duda, and anybody else who enjoyed our collaborations. And Stephanie says it's all about power when it comes to Diddy, which I completely agree with. So in section E, they say that Combs subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abusc to cause them to engage in freak-offs and other commercial acts. Combs maintained, and I imagine he had them sign NDAs, you know, and with all his money and power and status, they're probably scared to break the NDA. Combs maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promises of career and financial opportunities, granting and threatening to withhold financial support, and by other coercive means, including tracking their whereabouts, dictating their appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances. During and separate from freak-offs and other commercial acts, Combs, among other things, hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. These assaults often resulted in injuries that took days or weeks to heal. Following the assault, Combs, with the assistance of members and associates of the enterprise, frequently worked to conceal his misconduct by offering to provide medical assistance or other financial benefit to victims. Combs also threatened victims' careers and livelihoods, including if they resisted engaging in acts with Combs, and at times with Combs and male commercial workers. Man, he was evil. He is an evil, evil, dirty demon. Victims believed they could not refuse Combs' demands without risking their financial or job security or without repercussions in the form of physical or emotional abuse. Combs also used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during freak-offs as collateral to ensure the continued obedience and silence of the victims. This is so sad. I'm surprised that nobody offed themselves over this. Like, you know, when you feel so trapped in something like this by someone who is so huge and so revered, like, I wouldn't be shocked if there were people that felt like there was no other option, you know, like this is terrible stuff. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including Combs' security personnel, at times carried firearms. On more than one occasion, Combs himself carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten others, including victims of and witnesses to his abusc. In or about March 2024, during the search of Combs' residences in Miami, Florida, and LA, California, law enforcement seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers, as well as a drum magazine. And we saw photos of that when we read the initial indictment. Section H, members and associates of the Combs enterprise enabled Combs' control over victims by following his directions regarding financial payments to victims, advancing or suppressing the victim's career opportunities, and acquiring the controlled substances Combs used to keep the victims compliant. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise at times witnessed Combs' violence towards the victims or the victims' injuries caused by Combs without intervening. Instead, members and associates of the Combs enterprise helped conceal the violence and abusc by, among other things, assisting Combs in monitoring and preventing victims from leaving locations such as hotels or Combs' residences. They were truly trapped. And he definitely can do that, right? In the hotels, as we saw, like he will run out in his towel and beat you down, drag you back. And his residences, they're like, he lives in these homes with like lots of land around it. So if you try to run, he can get in his little golf cart and get you. This is so bad. This is so ugly. Again, this reminds me of that movie that I watched over the summer, Blink Twice. These occasions included instances in which a victim was required to remain in hiding, sometimes for several days at a time, to recover from injuries Combs inflicted without being publicly observed. And Cassie talked about this. She had to do plastic surgery, I believe, right? Members and associates of the Combs enterprise also assisted Combs in locating and contacting victims who attempted to flee his abuse. So there you guys go. You know, for people who are asking, like, you know, why didn't some people speak out? How did this stay, or blah, blah? It was impossible. He was so powerful. He was so revered. And he had so many people working for him and with him to trap his victims. Whew. Man, it's so depressing to read this. What page are we on? There are only 15 pages and we're already on page 9. We're almost on page 10, so just a little bit more to go, but oh my God. Yeah, I love him too. He's so sweet. Dimples. Boss Lady says, I love you, Mims and Campfire. Big fan of your works, guys. And you know what? I love Mims as well. It's been a while since I've spoken to Mims. I'm going to have to reach out to him. You know, I have to be honest with you guys. Januaries are so hard for me. And this is why I really, really am now. I'm putting the plan in motion to move down south. I need sun. I can no longer do this. It's really, really hard. So I kind of like fall off, like outside of working, I fall off socially, right? And so I need to get back on there, reach back out to Mims and whatnot. I still do communicate with Layla and Campfire like rather often because like, you know, we worked together for like a couple of years, like every single week and whatnot. So we, you know, on est un peu plus habitué. I'm more used to contacting them. So yeah, I'm going to get back up there. But remember, SAD winter blues, y'all. Venetia says Diddy needs to stay in jail, and I completely agree. Mary Duda says, oh yeah, it was a month ago. January really feels like 6 months, right? And solitary confinement, I completely agree. Gwen says this has been a really long year, and sometimes it's still January. Tell me about it. Though I do say, I don't know, it feels long and short at the same time. It's hard to explain. April says Dawn talked about feeling that. Okay, well, that doesn't surprise me, and thank you for telling me because I feel like I would feel the same way in that situation, right? Like you're being rugged against your will, you're being raped, you're all these things, right? And this person is threatening to leave you broke if you were to, and like we already know in the Cassie lawsuit that he blew up Kid Cudi's car. So you know he's crazy, you know he's violent. What really can you do? Like there was no option for these people, and it's devastating to read this. Like how can anyone do this to another person? And especially someone with children, like you would think that having children changes your perspective on life and people and, you know, humanity and whatnot. But no, like it's so ugly. Section I, when employees witnesses to his ABUSC or threatens Combs' authority or reputation, Combs and members of and associates of the enterprise engage in acts of violence, threats of financial and reputational harm, and verbal ABUSC. These acts of violence included arson and multiple acts of kidnapping, including one instance of kidnapping, during which Combs carried and displayed a firearm. In addition, on multiple occasions, Combs threw both objects and people, as well as hit, dragged, choked, and shoved others. On one occasion, Combs dangled a victim over an apartment balcony. That's new news to me. Do y'all remember hearing this? That is crazy. Dangling a victim over an apartment balcony. Oh my God. And you know, Michelle, I don't know if you've seen the movie Blink Twice, but I really, really do urge you guys, if you're interested in this Diddy lawsuit, blink twice. Like it feels like it was inspired by this Diddy stuff. And remember, it was made by Zoe Kravitz, and it makes you wonder, with her being in Hollywood, you know, if it truly was inspired by him at all. These girls, they didn't know how they got there. They didn't know where they were. Like it was like, it's crazy. And they wipe your memory with these rugs that they force you to take and all sorts of things. Like it was really, really, you know, shocking. And I feel like it feels like it's heavily inspired by this. Like there's no way to get away from somebody like this. Hey, Brandon, nice to see you. Let me go and put this up. Malin, I see you're here. Nice to see you, Malin. Let me go back. A balcony. I didn't know he was dangling victims over balconies. That is insane. Apparently, according to Malin, he did that to Wale. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Wow. Where's Blink Twice? I think you can rent it maybe on Amazon Prime or something like that. I watched it in theaters, but I'm not sure where it's streaming, but I believe you can rent it Amazon Prime or YouTube or something like that. It's like, wow, it's a really, really shocking film. And it's really well done. And Channing Tatum is in it as well. Section J, when Combs' authority or reputation was threatened by the possibility of negative publicity or legal or law enforcement action against him, including in or about late 2023. Oh, so now we get into his state of mind after all this info came out. Okay. Following the public allegations, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise pressured witnesses and victims, including through attempted bribery, to stay silent and not report what they experienced or knew to law enforcement. On phone calls, Combs and other members and associates, among other things, provided these victims and witnesses with a false narrative of events in an effort to conceal his crimes. I remember this. Combs caused these calls to be recorded. He's so dumb on at least 2 occasions. I wonder if they're going to play that in court. Him really literally witness tampering. Let's throw that new charge on him, right? So now they're going to explain the racketeering conspiracy, right? Starting from line 13. From at least in or about 2004 through in or about 2024, so for 20 years, in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs and others known and unknown, being persons employed by and associated with the Combs enterprise, described in paragraphs 6 through 12 of this indictment, an enterprise engaged in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly combined, conspired, confederated, and agreed together and with each other to violate the racketeering laws of the United States. Ooh, this is heavy. To wit, Title 18, that is to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, as that term is defined in Title 18, consisting of A, multiple acts involving kidnapping, chargeable under the following provisions of state law. And they've got, everything from New York to California. B, multiple acts involving arson. I only heard about the Kid Cudi arson, but there was more. Chargeable under the following provisions of state law in California. So this only happened in California, apparently. Shout out to you, Kid Cudi. Hope he at least bought you a new car. C, multiple acts involving bribery, chargeable under the following provisions. D, multiple acts indictable under Title 18 relating to tampering with a witness. Yes, they're charging him with witness tampering as well. Yes. E, multiple acts indictable under Title 18 related to forced labor. Ooh, not you being charged with slavery. Wow. Oh my God. The amount of charges this man is facing, and on a federal level, they might even go ahead and say, we're going to sentence you to 300 years, Like, it's bad. It's bad. Wow. Maybe do that. I thought of Michael Jackson with Blanket too when I heard about the dangling. I was like, oh my God. Kristen says, I told my mom about the Diddy case and she said, wow, that sounds exactly like this movie. I just watched Blink twice, right? You gotta watch the movie. I'm really thankful to my friend Julie for choosing that movie. Actually, I was actually low key kind of like, ugh, because we were supposed to watch It Ends With Us. We were like, oh, let's watch It Ends With, well, I was like, let's watch It Ends With Us. It's like, mired in controversy and I want to know what it's all about. Is it worth the controversy? And she's like, oh, but I want to watch Blink twice. So I said, you know what, let's do it. One of those. I'm like, oh, whatever. Like, I'm open to anything. So if you don't like this, but I'm open to anything, it's better for me to change, right? So we went and we watched it and it was incredible. So Kristen, I do hope that you were able to watch it. And who was the other one? Brittany also wanted to watch it. Y'all got to get together and find a way to watch it because it's a really, really good movie. Shem says, I read online that Taylor's not happy. I read that, but it came from the Daily Mail and I don't really trust the Daily Mail. I think the best way to know is, and we'll find out in a few weeks at the Super Bowl, if Travis Kelce's team makes it to the Super Bowl and you don't see Taylor bringing Blake Lively with her, maybe, just maybe, there might be some truth to it. Can the FBI contact Ms. Kravitz for questioning? Maybe it's inspired by the stuff she knew in the industry. Wouldn't that be interesting if she were a secret informant? Maybe they already did contact her and it's a secret. Because in my opinion, there's no way someone with like a normal mind made that without having any kind of inspiration. Like it was, wow, insane. Milan says he was helping producing Cassie's album. He got mad at Wale. Oh, that rapper. Okay, Wale. And dangled him outside a high-rise building. I had no idea. Thank you. Wow. No one believed Wendy Williams. I did, but ... And speaking of Wendy, April, and everybody else watching, Wendy says it's even worse than any of this that we've seen so far. She says she knows more. Speaking of, do you think that they're going to reach out to her? Now that they've declared her, what do you call it? Having dementia or something. Can they still even use her for anything? Like, I think they need to knock on her door. Come free her from the tower in exchange for, she should be free anyway. But, if anything, maybe help her, right? Help her and she'll help you too. Because I really want this guy to be nailed for every single thing he did. I don't think he should go free on anything. Already, it's clear as day he's going to be spending the rest of his life in prison. But I want even more, because they do hand out these egregious, sentences sometimes, like 300 years. I want it to go up to even 900 years if need be. Come on. Section F. Multiple acts indictable under Title 18 related to ex-trafficking, multiple acts related to transportation and inducement to travel for purposes of prostitution and other illegal sexual activities, multiple offenses involving the possession with intent to distribute or distribution of narcotics and controlled substances, including coke, oxy, alprazolam. Any pharmacists in the house, any nurses, any medical people, what is alprazolam, and what is methylene meth. What is bromo 2,5 gamma hydroxy? Anyone who could read these things and let me know what they are, please feel free to let us know in the chat. You would be much, much, much appreciated. Distribution and possession with intent to distribute and conspiracy to do the same, aiding and abetting, and willfully causing. And it was part of the conspiracy that Sean Combs agreed that a conspirator would commit at least 2 acts of racketeering activity in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise. He is done for. He is never, ever, ever coming out. And I love that for him. I'm sorry, East Awesome. But listen, you might be able to join the playback posse for the end of this stream at the very least. But I'm going to miss your comments because I do love your live comments. Boss says, exactly, Grace. The coincidences are weird. That movie seems like a prediction. Yes. And the timing was too good. You know what it reminds me of? Blink Twice not only is like this Diddy stuff, it's also reminiscent of the case here in France about Dominique Pellicot rugging his wife, Giselle Pellicot. And he had been doing this for decades. And he was posting on the dark web ads for people to come and in her sleep and whatnot. And she had no idea. The only way this even came out was because someone caught him filming upskirt videos. And then it was in a grocery store or something like that. The grocery attendant said, girl, you need to press charges. Come on, press charges. This is not acceptable. And so she said, okay. And then the police opened his phone and that's where all this information was. It's nuts. It's nuts, right? Imagine finding that out one day. You're in your 70s or whatever, and you find 70s or 80s, and you find out that for pretty much your entire marriage, your husband was doing this to you. You had no idea. No idea. The trauma of it all. And he's suspected to have done that to his daughter. And he's suspected of having done that to his grandkids as well. It's bad. Gwen, thank you. Apparently alprazolam is a benzo similar to Xanax. Ugh. So it makes you less likely to fight back. And God, it makes me so sick. Jen says it doesn't matter how many times you read through it. You always pick up something new, and the effect is always there. This is so heinous. I cannot get over it. So I'm seeing Xanax, Molly. Thank y'all for helping me with this because I'm not too great with this sort of a thing. Brittany says, free Wendy and let's hear her speak. I agree. I want her to be able to speak out about this. Psilocin is a psychedelic. I've heard of psilocybin for the shrooms, but I didn't know about this. Gwen says, I had a parent that was heavily addicted to benzos. When people mix them with alcohol, the results can be pretty extreme. Is that the thing where people are slouched over like zombies? That makes me so damn sad. Thank you. So Molly, Xanax type thing, all sorts of very, very ugly things. And according to April, Hugh Hefner was even worse. The guy I used to date, dad was in the FBI, and he would tell my boyfriend and me that Diddy is child's play in comparison. I know that Hugh kicked the bucket, but I have heard that he was doing his own version of these creepy freak-offs and stuff. It never sat right to me. I don't know why or how we normalized this 80-year-old having a bunch of 20-year-old girlfriends and even teenage girlfriends. It was disgusting. Disgusting. It still is. I want them to blow the lid off on him too. Who cares? I don't want him to rest in peace if he was doing that. I want an expose on it. Guys, we're on page 11 out of 15, by the way. Like, my stomach is turning, but we've made it this far. We got to keep going. Notice a special sentencing factor. From at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2018 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, as part of his agreement to conduct and participate in the conduct of the affairs of the Combs enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, agreed to, in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruit, entice, harbor, transport, provide, obtain, advertise, maintain, patronize, and solicit by any means a person knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats of force, fraud, and coercion, as described in Title 18. Title 18 is very far reaching, right? Because it feels like everything from slavery to rugs to all sorts of things. Witness tampering all fall under Title 18. Jeez. And any combination of such means would be used to cause the person to engage in a commercial X act in violation of Title 18. So now we get into count 2. So this time, X trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Victim 1. Again, this is Cassie. The grand jury further charges from at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2018 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs, in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce, knowingly recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, provided, obtained, and advertised. So he advertised Cassie as a prostitute? Wow. Maintained, patronized, and solicited by any means a person knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats of force, fraud, and coercion as described in Title 18 of the United States Code, and any combination of such means would be used to cause the person to engage in a commercial X act and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same, to wit, Combs recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, and maintained victim 1, Cassie, and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused her to engage in commercial X acts, knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that victim 1 was engaging in commercial X acts as a result of force, fraud, and coercion. Oh, it makes you want to cry, you guys. Oh my God, I am horrified. Horrified. He was advertising her. And in public, he was trying to make it look like they were this power couple. They were so in love. When she finally escaped him, what was he doing? He was posting pictures of her talking about, I miss you. Like the manipulation, the level of psycho you have to be to do that to someone that you were doing this to behind the scenes. Wow. Is it considered breaking an NDA if someone steals your phone with info on it? No, I wouldn't say so. Well, here's the thing. If it's the info that the person gave you themselves, then no. But if you're caught in that phone spreading that information to other people, then yes, I do believe that that would be considered breaking an NDA. You guys, I'm shook, y'all. I don't want him to rest in peace. Right? Like, why should he? If he did all these things to other people, and I think even just for the simple fact that he was boning teenagers well into his 80s, like, kick the dust up. Kick the dust up. And I agree. Where is Clive Davis? Clive Davis is another one, right? Who's very suspicious. You know who else is suspicious? The guy who was managing B2K, Omarion's group. Raz B was always speaking out against this guy, you know? Let's expose them all. And here's the thing too, Ali, I don't think his NDAs would be valid because he's asking you to be silent about crimes, right? So I don't think it would be valid anyway. Now, count 3. Transportation to engage in prostitution. The grand jury further charges from at least in or about 2009 up to and including in or about 2024 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Sean Combs knowingly transported individuals in interstate and foreign commerce with intent that the individuals engage in prostitution and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same, to wit, Combs transported, aided, and abetted caused the transportation of female victims, including but not limited to victim 1, victim 2, and victim 3. and commercial ex workers in interstate and foreign commerce on multiple occasions with the intent that they engage in prostitution. Forfeiture allegations. As a result of committing the offense alleged in count 1 of this indictment, Sean Combs shall forfeit to the United States, pursuant to Title 18 of the United States Code, any and all interests the defendant acquired or maintained in violation of Title 18. Any and all interests in securities of, claims against, and property or contractual rights of any kind affording a source of influence over the enterprise named and described herein, which the defendant established, operated, controlled, conducted, and participated in the conduct of. Oh, they have a right to take his money? He was making money doing what? And any and all property constituting and derived from proceeds. So not just his money, but his items. Directly and indirectly said offense, including but not limited to a sum of money in United States currency representing amount of proceeds traceable to the commission. So he was making bank, prostituting these girls out, and now the government has a right to take that money back and the items purchased with that money. Wow. I'm shook. Good, but I'm shook. I still can't wrap my mind around the fact that he was prostituting these girls out. I thought he was just, hiring prostitutes and for the girl, but like he's actually like taking pictures of them and advertising them. I get like, wow. As a result of committing the offense alleged in count 2 of this indictment, Sean Combs shall forfeit to the United States, pursuant to Title 18, any and all property, real and personal, involved in. Does that mean that the kids are going to get kicked out of that house? Wow. Involved in used or intended to be used to commit or facilitate the commission of said offense, and any of and all property traceable to such property. Any and all property, real and personal, constituting or derived from proceeds obtained directly or indirectly as a result of said offense, including but not limited to a sum of money in United States currency representing the amount of money involved in said offense and proceeds traceable to the commission. So I guess he's lucky that he did the majority of this in hotel rooms. But if you were doing a lot of this in his homes would be up for grabs now. As a result of committing the offense alleged in the count 3 of this indictment, Sean Combs shall forfeit to the United States, pursuant to Title 18, any and all property, real and personal, constituting or derived from proceeds. Okay, so they're saying, okay, so anything, money, this and that, right? Substitute assets provision. If any of the above described forfeitable property as a result of any act or omission of the defendant, A, cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, B, has been transferred, sold to, or deposited with a third person. I wouldn't be surprised if you were transferring these things to his children. Placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court. Ooh, overseas money. The Cayman Islands, hello. D, has been substantially diminished in value, or E, has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty. It is the intent of the United States, pursuant to Title 18, to seek forfeiture of any other property of the defendant up to the value. Oh, you're not playing. You hide this, I'll take something else that's worth just as much. Damn. Danielle R. Sassoon. They got him. Diddy is done for. And I love that for him. You cannot do the things that you have done to people and get away with it. What's done in the dark will always come to light. And I am glad, and dementia is always their thing. Even Tom Girardi scamming all those people up until he gets caught. All of a sudden he's got dementia. Please, right? She says, damn, Blink Twice is on Prime. Oh, there you go. So Brittany, did you see that? And who was the other one who wanted to watch that? Was it you boss lady, or was it you? I think it was Allie. Blink Twice is on Prime. It's very, very sad. It's very, very heavy, especially when you know that people actually live these realities, right? Yeah, he was advertising her. When the video made its rounds to 50 Cent, 50 contacted Diddy telling him, I see your girl on a video with 2 guys, just to find out that Diddy was fine. No wonder he hates that man so much. Can you imagine 50 Cent being a witness? Now that would be interesting too, right? The kids are going to get evicted. Listen, sorry to the girls, Jessie, Delilah, Chance, Love. But those boys who allegedly were in on it, good. Oh my God. I am so sad. He sold the properties. I thought he still had his Beverly Hills. I know that he has it listed, or Miami is listed, but I don't think they've officially sold. The energy, people are just too scared, I think, or people are too disgusted to purchase a home where things like that went down. For now, I think he's going to have to seriously lower the price. This clown probably refer to himself as Pimp Daddy. I wouldn't be surprised, right? And I think it really, speaking of that, elevate yourself. You know, when you said that, it reminded me of Khloe Kardashian's Halloween costume, where she had all of her black female friends on leashes and stuff. They were dogs and she was a pimp or something. They were hoes and she was a pimp. Like, this is nothing to mess with. Like, just reading this indictment, like, was so disturbing. And this is what that stuff is. Like, it's not cool. It's not fun. It's not a Halloween costume. Like, it's sad and it's disgusting. And it's it needs to be eradicated. He didn't sell his property. He tried, right? He tried to sell the plane and put the rest under his assistant. But he does have some mansions. I think it's either Miami or Beverly Hills that he has listed. And of course, I know B2K. I used to be in love with Omarion, y'all. I was really into him, Jaleesa. And I loved his song, I loved his song, Touch. Like, I'm a true 90s girl. I love 2000s R&B and everything, y'all. Like, oh, Lord. And yeah, I'm happy that, East Awesome and, those of you who are also interested in Blink Twice are going to be able to give it a chance. I'm still so disgusted that it was completely snubbed during movie season, whereas a crappy movie like Emilia Perez is getting all of this praise. It sucks. Blink Twice was a bomb-ass movie. It should have gotten more recognition than it got. And I actually think it was better than Wicked 2. I was expecting to like Wicked, but I was sick and tired of that damn singing all the time. I like musicals. For example, High School Musical. It was a good amount. It was a perfect balance of singing and acting. But the musicals from 2024, too much singing, not enough acting and storyline. But I digress. Guys, I know it's a bit longer, today's morning report, but I'm really thankful that y'all stuck around to read the full superseding indictment. I do think it was super duper important to get to that as well. And so I'm happy to have had you here by my side for it, and to have had all of you guys' input as well, because you guys always know just what to say. You guys always are on the ball. So thank you. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. And I'm sad signing off here because this is the last time we're going to be seeing Boss Lady before she heads back to work. I'm going to miss you, Boss Lady. Bon retour. I hope everything goes well with work. And speaking of work, we're still crossing our fingers for you, Allie. We hope you get the job. Take good care of yourselves, you guys, over the weekend. If you enjoyed the morning report, please do make sure to go ahead and give it a thumbs up on your way out. And I'll see y'all on Monday, okay? Take care, guys. Bye.